All right, let's try this again. Hello, Twitch. So I'm going to be streaming Astroneer for the next, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. Basically, in my last video, I showed you how to use button automation to automate production. And what I realized is I've actually done a ton of automation without the buttons and with the buttons, and I wanted to clarify what happens when you do one of these loops. So when you, first of all, when you implement one of these loops, what you're really doing is you are making it so you cannot use another button repeater anywhere in the game. So under current, astroneering, if you create a button like so, and it's tied into these guys, you're all right? So I can go, boop, and then here, let me pull this over here. And then tie it into this fella here. So you'll see that nothing's happening. So the reason for that is basically you are limited to the two fellas here. Now, the nice thing about it is you've got 11 segments per button, so you could automate 22 items. But you cannot automate anything else if you do that. So that's just something you need to keep in mind. It's a current limitation of the software, from what I can tell. Maybe it's a bug, maybe it's not, maybe it's a feature, who knows? So back to automation. So this right here, so one of the things I did for a while is I created a ton of scrap. Like plenty. Hey, Fraser's watching. Hey, Fraser. So I've created a ton of scrap playing this game. I've played this game way too much, like career hurting level of playing. Well, maybe not, but yeah, a fair amount. So one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to automate the use of turning scrap into ammonium or turning scrap into layer tight. So these are currently two trade platforms set to layer tight. These are some arms set to install things in the thing, and then since the button is activating these things, so we have the buttons automating the trade platforms, basically hitting go, right? So what's happening here is layer tight, which is a 1-for-1 trade, is basically, being delivered once at a time to this platform. Now, I have two trade platforms, so I can keep two of them going. So the first thing I need to do is put this large resource canister full of scrap. Well, not full, 163 left. And then make sure that this is delivering that scrap to this platform. So, and make sure all of my arms are on. So another bug is a strong word. I think it's actually intentional. Is as you are doing things, if your arms stop working or they get gummed up or buggy or something, they will stop delivering, resources. They will stop grabbing resources and moving them along, and that's how it is. So the first thing you have to do is you have to go through, and every time you play, make sure that your arms are working, and you can do that by just triggering them. And you're like, but Chris, why don't you just trigger them with the power button? You don't want to do that because it's pretty indiscriminate. So watch, I'm going to attach that, and when the ship lands, it's going to go crazy. It's going to go, it's going to make all these weird noises. See? So you don't want to do that. But you can see they were both loaded up, and they took their payloads, dropped them on the smelters. They'll come off the smelter and get sucked into this guy here. This one will pull over the created aluminum and put it in behind here. So this gets grabbed, drops it here, gets slurped in. So this is just a little layer tight factory, all right? And it's just going to run for a while. Over here is my nanocarbon alloy factory. So this is here. Let me go get some ammonium so I can show this working. So let's go over to my ammonium storage place over here. So, like all good astroneers, I have a hoarding problem. There's quartz, there's ceramic. Ammonium's over there. So I can actually put this here. Grab this, put this here. And so enable the output and drop it in here. So this is going to consume 32 ammonium from the 311 or so that I have here. For a while, I was basically just mining ammonium. One of the things I'll show in either this video or a later video is a soil centrifuge automatic creation system for ammonium. It's very entertaining, I assure you. It works exactly the way you think it is, but we'll get to it. So this is going to load up. Once this is full, so I can't tell you how nice it is. So if you look at this little half ammonium up here and this half ammonium down there, they are specifically like that because you interrupt it in the middle of enabling or disabling output. And it's not a big deal most of the time, but sometimes, like if you have one of these set on and grabbing these guys, this is still off because of the reboot. You'll end up with these quarter resources floating around, and it doesn't work very well. It's very frustrating. And I get why it happens, but I've had to actually shred resource containers as a result. So I don't know if sound's coming through. I think it is. But if you listen, you can hear the rockets landing over there with the layer tight. So let's get this empty container out of the way. Like so. Drop this one in. So turn it on to output, like so. So this is a stack of hydrogen. That's just a stack of ammonium. And then you've got a pile of hydrazine being generated. Now you're like, but wait, Chris, what's happening? Well, part of the problem here is if you don't have an empty stack enough, it can fill up and it can sort of jam and clog, right? So, and it's just fast enough. So you'll see here, this one gets stuck, right? So what you should do at some point is, is when everything's busy, put this over here, and then bring your mostly empty stack and bring it over here. You know, people who play Astroneer a lot know this is a problem. It's just, it is what it is. So put this here, turn that back on, use that because I use a ton of hydrazine, and for the jetpack. But then you're like, wait, that's only part of nanocarbonate alloy. Then you've got your graphene maker. So I take this, I go back over to my hoarding, like so. And that's graphite. Enable graphite output. So that's going to fill this guy up. While it does that, I'll get rid of this aluminum. So 16 aluminum. Clearly I need more. That's why we're building it automatically over there. So we'll let this load up. I'll see what's going on. My obsessive need to fully fill my trade rocket before sending it off is twitching. Oh, yeah. Now, so those of you who aren't looking at the chat, the August John Fraser, he has pointed out that I am not filling the trade rocket and getting a full load back. That is absolutely true, and it bothers me too. If I could put a delay line into the button repeaters, that would solve that problem. I've thought of ways to do that. I'm not quite there yet, though. You know, like basically having a small battery that gets used up, and that battery then triggering a power sensor that triggers, and so on and so forth. So you go over here, you generate graphene. So this is holding 23 graphene. So I don't need to do that, obviously. Anyway, so I'll take. So I just let this go. I just let it just generate a ton of graphene, and then I take the graphene over to here because I need to create titanium alloys. So I have titanium. I have this. I've got this little guy here. What am I missing? I'm missing nitrogen. So, like again, all good Astroneers, I obsessively have gotten all the gases and brought them back here. I had a little stack over there of nitrogen, but let's go over to the main storage area. So this large platform has my Scylla gases, hydrogen and nitrogen. And now I'm bringing these back over here. like so. So we're going to put that right there. So, and this will generate titanium alloy. All right. So it's only got 4 in it right now, but that's okay. And then we go over here, and we bring the titanium alloy to this platform. So what we'll do is we'll remove this guy here. We will pick up that there, put that over there, and we'll actually just enable output on this for a couple of 3. Pull this away, put it back on. So it just sits there and collects. Put this back, so there's more titanium later. And then you literally, all you do is you fill up a stack here, and then it generates from the titanium alloy, of course, nanocarbon alloy. So I've got 2 little nanocarbon alloys, and then of course you can do anything you want with nanocarbon alloy. It's funny because titanium alloy is actually really useful too. So don't fall into the trap of just making nanocarbon alloy, even though it's super, super useful and necessary, because you're going to end up needing it for things like the resource canister and the RTGs and the rest. So, Chris, you said that you were going to mention the other way of getting resources. So, here's what you do. You take soil centrifuges, like so. Then you get a resource canister, because you need a place to put your stuff, like so. Like that. Then you get a whole wicked pile of soil, like so. Boop. Boop. And boop. So we're going to turn output on. You actually need a soil canister or 2 for sure. So take that, put that over there like so. Pick out what it is you want to generate. Let's say that we want to generate layer type. Oh, we can't do that here. So let's say we want to create, what am I low on? I'm actually low on compound, which is weird. So we're going to set these to compound. 1, 2, 3. And just like everything else, and sometimes you need to sort of jump start it. So you need really 2 of these soil canisters floating around. So these are poised and ready. Let's make sure it's plugged in. It is. And then let's take our button repeater, because you actually need a button repeater to work. So we're going to branch. We're going to create segments as long as we're allowed to, because this is actually a little further than I thought it was going to be. Create another segment, and then attach these like so. And attach that like so. And now you've got a factory. So this is just going to create compound until these soil canisters are empty. Yeah, I mean, you can watch it if you want. The thing about this is I will have to prime this resource canister for it to work. So we're just going to let that spin. You can see I clearly, again, have a problem. I make too many things. So you're like, dude, you're making so much compound. That's right. So this is just going to consume all the things. The nice thing about having this tall stack over here is it's got enough sockets that it acts as a buffer. So this is going to dump 16 compounds at a time, and this can only really consume a compound a second, right? So you really need to have a plan. And sometimes it'll only generate, 4 because the button's being pushed obsessively by the masher there. But that's okay. You generate so much compound so fast in this method that you kind of have to watch it. So we're at 19 when we left there. We were at 23 when we left over here. And now we're at 137. Sorry, we're at 44. So that's an okay time. It's probably more efficient to go and just dig for it yourself, but that's okay. So what have we seen today? We've seen the soil automator. Hooray! We've seen, in fact, I could probably make a couple more of those too. We've seen a scrap automator, which is excessively wasteful of scrap. We've seen, let's see what we have over here. We've got our hydrazine to graphene to titanium alloy. Yeah, graphene to titanium alloy to nanocarbon alloy over here in this section. What I didn't show you, this is the steel automation. So I add carbon to this and poof, I've got steel being created at a rapid rate. This is plastic automation here. So we've got compound and and you'd add carbon to get plastic. And I generated so much of it that, I just don't need any more plastic. These are empty resource canisters. And then this is scrap automation. So I would just, here's the thing. I'm actually a little unhappy with my scrap automation. So I'm probably going to redo it. But what you have here is basically I had a series of arms that was in a loop, but it was constantly getting jammed up. The goal of putting the production systems over here is that eventually I would just put in an arm that would pick up the scrap, and then I could keep the scrap over here with the other junk, or the compound with the other junk, and just send the compound down this line of arms. Here, give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So turn that on. So, and then it would go da da da, and so I wouldn't have to keep the container here. I could put it over here where it's predictable for me. But honestly, it's such a pain in the butt monitoring these arms and turning them on all the time, making sure they're working. It's just a pain in the butt, so I don't like doing it. I got to find a way of being happy with it, because I'm not right now. And that's it. So I'll broadcast some more, later. I'll upload this to YouTube, and I hope you enjoyed it.